Well, so today's Memorial Day weekend, and it's the weekend that we celebrate and honor the people who have lost their lives for our freedom. That was what it started out for. And in truth, we have not only people in the armed forces, but we have policemen and firemen and other people who have lost their lives in that time of being in service. And I'm always amazed at how God works in my life, how Spirit works. Because I pick out these little groups of things I'm going to talk about. And it's sort of like fitting, you know how you play bingo and you cover up the holes? Well, I'm trying to cover up the Sundays. And so this day, today, I put that I was going to be talking about Jesus choosing to be in service. Now, I did not know that this day was going to be Memorial Day weekend. And so I'm always amused at inner amusement that God can work through me in this random process of me picking things and putting them in buckets and it being in the right bucket. And so I share that because it's just one more way that I'm aware that there is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life and affairs and in yours, that I would be talking about service on this day where we honor people's service. We honor the people who have given their lives for us, and that's a precious thing. It's precious to stop and remember all of those people. And so what I would like to do is just take another minute, just 1 second for you to just think. I know that we all know someone, either a relative, a past relative, a distant relative, a friend, someone who's lost their life in service. Just take a moment and inwardly say thank you. We give thanks for all of that service. Thank you, God. There's a French parable about a man who was known in his village to be a servant to all. He was always in service. He was in service to the king. He was in service to the people around him. And one day he was out walking in the woods and he fell and he rolled down a hill, and when he got to the bottom of the hill, he found an old cup, and he picked the cup up and rubbed it, and there was a genie. And the genie said, I can give you one wish. Now be wise, because I can only give you one wish. And the guy thought, and he said, well, I'm known as the servant to all. I'm always in service. What I would like is for everybody else to serve me. And so it is. And so he goes back up to the castle, and someone opens the castle door, and people begin serving him as if he were the king. And the first month, it really amused him. And the second month, he was irritated. And by the third month, he was miserable. Miserable, miserable, miserable. And so he goes out and he goes down to the hill and he looks for the cup and he rubs the cup, and here comes the genie, and he says, oh, genie, that was a terrible wish. Please undo that wish. And the genie said, I can't undo that wish. You only had one wish, and that's all I can do. And the man said, you don't understand. If I have to live like this, it's like being in hell. I would rather be in hell. And the genie looked at him and said, where do you think you've been the last 90 days? There's something fulfilling to our soul when we're in service. There's something that touches us, that touches us in ways that we don't even realize. I know that there are people here that are not here this week because it's a holiday weekend, and yet, you know, we've had lots of people being in service around here. So can you put those pictures up now? So Saturday before last, we packed, and you can just kind of scroll through. That's Rachel and Vashti. And you can just, maybe we can't scroll through them. Cute picture. Yeah, I just wanted them to go from one to the other. And there's Cheryl packing in the children's room. And that's Lauren Hall. She and her husband bought boxes and tubs, and then she came back and packed. She came in with her gloves. You could tell. Sheila was in there packing in the kitchen. Oh, that's me and Rachel. We were there trying to put that tape on a box. Sometimes those tape machines. And there's Gerald. My sweet Gerald is out at the new building. The berm had been breached, and so he rebuilt the berm. And you know, he did that after working his regular job. And here's Rena and Vivian. They were here packing. Now, there were other people here packing. And this is on Thursday. And so on Thursday, Julie was here helping me with pictures. And David and Sheila, they were here packing last Saturday. And Ann Bolton is on the worship team. She's helped pack. I can't tell you all that Ann has done. She's been board president. She's just done all sorts of things. And then down at the end, you see Kathy and Mary Jane. And Kathy didn't really want to be in the picture, and neither did Mary Jane. And they come here every Tuesday and Thursday and work. And they do it. I'm going to tell you that on some Thursdays, it's pretty frantic around here, trying to get everything done so we're ready for Sunday. You know, and on the weeks when we have the most stuff to pass out, what do you think the copier does? It does. It works really good until that moment when you just have to have it. Kathy's back there nodding. If I ask right now for everybody to stand up who has packed a box, Joellen over there, you got to stand up too. If you've packed a box, stand up. Or if you help pack in any way, stand up. So you see all these people have been here packing. The pedal, we didn't get your picture. Now, if you've ushered, would you stand up? If you're an usher, stand up. If you've ushered, stand up. If you've been a Sunday school teacher and you're in the room, stand up. If you've helped with a potluck, would you stand up? If you're a licensed Unity teacher or working on becoming a licensed Unity teacher, would you stand up? If you do sound and video, would you stand up? If you fixed a computer, would you stand up? If you have ever fixed anything here, would you stand up? If you helped with SEE, stand up. Okay, so I'm going to read a group of things, and then all of these people stand up. Worship team, next steps, lead meditation, work in the office, or being on the board, doing the grounds, or if you come and pray with us, stand up. Musicians, yes. Thank you. Now, do you get the idea? You get the idea? How many people have stood up? So if you stood up at any time, John, you've helped with the accounting.
John, stand up.
No, but everybody, if you stood up then, everybody stand up. If you have stood up this morning, if you have volunteered in any capacity with yard sales, stand up. I see you and I didn't get you standing up. If you musicians, volunteered, Sunday school, anything you've done, helped in any way, stand up. Now, I'm doing that for two reasons. One, because I want to say thank you. And two, I hear people say, we don't have that many people that volunteer. And what I want to say to you is this is a light Sunday. We don't have that many people here. A good many people that aren't here, they also volunteer. We've got a whole group of people back in there with our youth education today who are volunteering. And so I just want to honor that this church does not work without volunteers. And so between this Sunday and next Sunday, which we're calling Memory Sunday, because we're going to be celebrating this building and being here and us, this process. So between these two Sundays, I'm really wanting to say that we didn't get, when we go on the 21st to our new building, it didn't happen by accident. It happened because so many people held a vision. It happened because so many of you have stepped up to make pledges for our building campaign. It happened because you believed in the impossible. You let us set a goal that was way up here, way beyond what we would think that we could do. And it didn't happen because of me. It didn't happen because of any one person. It happened because of all of us. When you think about the fact that previously we had a paid-for church that was worth about $300,000. And today, we have a new building that we have $800,000 worth of equity in. Is that right? That is right. Now we still owe about $700,000. But we have that equity because we've done all this work and because we got such a good deal. Because all of you, every every one of you held the vision, held the thought, turned away from that thought of I can't to I can, away from we can't to we can. And it didn't happen because the majority of the people sat back and waited on someone else. So when I talk about service, I'm really saying thank you to all those people who've given their lives for us, but I'm saying thank you to each one of you who have given part of your today life for the person next to you. If you look at the person next to you, you could just say, yeah, I'm doing this for you. We're doing this for each other. We're in service. Jesus said, follow me. And I believe that he did not teach so much by what he said as by what he did. The reason we remember him is because he healed the sick. He cured the blindness. He loved and cheered for the poor. He fed the hungry. Those are the things that set him apart, set him above. There's an Emerson quote. It says, see how the mass of men worry themselves into nameless graves, while here and there a great unselfish soul forgets himself into immortality. Forgets himself into immortality. And so there are people, and next week we'll talk about it more, there are people whose names who were not looking to be huge people, but we had this building because of those people. And there will be some of our children and some of our grandchildren and some of our great-grandchildren that are part of Unity of Melbourne, either in the new building or its next new building, who will not remember, our names may not be remembered, but we're doing something. We're doing something pretty great. Sometimes when people come to me and they have problems, they ask me, you know, what should they do? And sometimes I try to encourage them to come to church and volunteer, because I know that if they get involved, they'll begin to feel like this is their home. They will begin to feel part of the community. And so instead of being alone, then they're part of something bigger than themselves. And sometimes people will say, oh, nobody want my help. Not after all the things I've done. And so I'm reminded of another parable, and it's a story about bamboo. And bamboo in this kingdom grew beautiful, strong and tall, and when the wind would blow, the bamboo would dance. And the king came and said, oh, bamboo, I love you so much, I need you. And the bamboo said, whatever, whatever. And the king said, I have to cut you down. And the bamboo said, oh, no, don't cut me down. Let me dance, let me bend, let me blow, let me make music. And the king said, I have to cut you down. And the bamboo said, okay, cut me down. And the king said, and I'm going to have to cut off your branches and your leaves. And the bamboo said, oh no, don't do that. And the king said, that's only way I can use you. And I'm going to split you open and I'm going to take out your heart. And the bamboo said, oh no, don't do that. And the king said, that's the only way I can use you. And the bamboo said, do all that. And so the king cut the bamboo down and took off all of its leaves and branches, split it open and took out its heart, and went and laid one end into a spring and laid the other end out into the fields. And the water from the spring gurgled and flowed and brought life to the fields. And for years after, rice was planted and rice grew. And so broken, that bamboo brought life. The meaning of the parable is that there is nothing that can be so broken about us that we can't be in service, that we can't bring new life to some other place. And so this morning, if you're one of those people that didn't quite stand up because you didn't quite, maybe you've wanted to volunteer or be a bigger part of this community than you've been, I just want to say you're welcome. You are welcome. Doesn't matter what's gone on in the past. It matters what is now. Showing up, being here, because we appreciate it. I loosely been following a book called Jesus in Blue Jeans. And the author is Beth Jones. And here's a quote. She says, "When Jesus turned water into wine at the wedding feast, an event at which he was a guest, he actually took on the duties of the host. This deed, she believes, eloquently conveyed his attitude toward the world. He came not to be served, but to serve." And I think about what John Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Being in service is one of the greatest gifts we get to give. And you know, it didn't cost anything. It cost us some time and some effort, but it's our greatest gift. And it is so lovingly received. I just want to say thank you. I'm going to close with the last little story about service. There was a couple that went into a hotel and they arrived about 1 o'clock in the morning, and the person, it was actually the manager of the hotel, said, "I am so sorry, we don't have any rooms. There are no rooms in this town. There's this big conference and convention going on, and it's a college town, and it's a football weekend, and there is no rooms." And he looked at the couple and he said, but you know, I cannot let you go out tonight. I have a room. You can stay in my room. And he let the couple stay in his room, and when the couple checked out the next day, the man said to the manager, he said, "Son, I'm going to build a hotel for you. Thank you for your service." And the young man didn't think much about it. And several years later, he got an invitation to New York with a ticket to go there. And when he got there, he was greeted by this gentleman. William Waldorf Astoria, who took him to this beautiful hotel. And he said, "I built this hotel for you." And the man's name was George Bolt, and he went on to be the manager of the Waldorf Astoria, all because he had that moment of opening his heart. And so this morning we've had lots of people opening their hearts for you. When you walked in their door, there were people greeting you. There was sound and video. We've had music. We had a beautiful meditation. Somebody was back there making coffee this morning for you. And all I can say is thank you, and I love you, and have a wonderful holiday weekend.